Hello and welcome to the Nova Show Real Estate Records. My name is Tristan Hammett and I am your host for today's episode. Today I am thrilled to introduce top Utah realtor Scott Steele, a Salt Lake City native with nearly 20 years of experience in new construction, renovation, and remodeling. Scott provides strategic marketing and transaction management, all while adapting to each client's unique needs. His business, built on dedication, communication, integrity, and service, has grown significantly through his YouTube channel where he shares real estate insights. Join us as we explore how Scott goes beyond the transaction to create real value for his clients. All right.
I love it.
I am here with Scott Steele. And so thank you for being here with me, Scott.
Of course. Thank you for coming to my office.
Yes. Today we're somewhere very fun. We're at Scott's podcast studio. So I asked him to be on our podcast, and because there are so many things that I want to talk to Scott about. I actually know Scott, so this should be a really good episode because there's so much to him. And but I met Scott here at his brokerage, and 2.5 years ago. So it's been
2.5 years.
It's been 2.5 years since I've known Scott, and I see him practically every single week. So we've built a good relationship, and he is just a kind, caring, and giving person. So I am very excited for today. So, Scott, tell us.
Let's hear it.
Where are you from?
Okay.
And where'd you grow up? And then how did you get into the real estate world?
Okay. To start off, first of all, I grew up here in Salt Lake City. I went to Cottonwood High School. Lived here my whole life. My parents weren't in the picture for the first 10 years of my life, so luckily I had grandparents that stepped in and helped raise myself and my brother. And then at the age of 10, lived with my mom and my stepfather until I was 15, and then my mom passed away unexpectedly, and made my way through high school somehow without getting into too much trouble at all, and decided to serve a mission, leave the country, explore the world a little bit, come back, and I've lived here ever since.
I love it. And where did you serve your mission?
Montevideo, Uruguay, in South America.
Yes, he is fluent in Spanish.
And I've used Spanish every day since I've been back. So it's really helpful in terms of real estate because a lot of clients, including one that I wrote an offer for this morning, speaks Spanish. It's really helpful.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yep.
All right. So before we get into all the really good stuff, let's talk about your day-to-day. I know you, and you come to your office.
I do.
And a lot of top agents, that is a common denominator. They go into their office. You actually are here in the morning. You stay after hours. So tell us about why that's important to you. And then also, what is your morning routine? So kind of walk us through a typical day.
Perfect. Well, the first reason why I come to the office is because if I try to work at home, I'm just not the right personality to be around my wife and my children, and I need to get stuff done because any little thing will distract me. And so when I'm at home working, my wife tells me, this is my office, you need to go find your own. So I was kind of pushed out the door, so to speak, to go find my own space, to go be creative and to work. And I love being in the office because it makes me more productive. But that productivity starts in the morning with a morning routine, just like everybody talks about. Anybody that's successful probably has some sense of routine to what they do, and there's no better time to start that than in the morning. So I wake up every day at 5:30, and I spend the first 2.5 hours of my day doing my morning routine where I wake up, I read, I do gratitudes, and physical exercise or just going on a walk and getting breakfast in because those things to me are my fuel for the day. That's my start to the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Sure. Puts you in the right mindset, and you're awake and ready for your day.
Yep.
Okay, we forgot to talk about how you got into real estate. So I know you had a construction company.
So long story. So in the early 2000s, I decided I was going to college. I went to the University of Utah. I thought that I always wanted to be an architect. At least I pretended to be wanting to become an architect. It didn't work out. I found a love and a passion working for a home builder and in building homes, and just working with building and construction itself was really appealing to me. So then I decided to get into renovations as a contractor and flipping homes for so many years. And then when the pandemic hit in 2020, I was done. I was just tired of babysitting subcontractors, and I was ready for a change. And to be honest with you, I wish I would have done that back in 2010.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is in 2020, you decided to get licensed.
March of 2020.
Yeah.
Just like so many real estate agents, right? We found it as I found it as a perfect opportunity to just jump ship.
Okay.
So I finished, I signed up for real estate school first, right? Finished the courses, just like I do everything. I just barreled through it 8 hours a day, and in 2.5 weeks I was done and got my license and wrapped up my projects through the month of August into September, and then I was ready to go.
Wow.
Yep.
And I'm sure that has so many benefits to your clients, having that background and that knowledge, because you can go in and envision things that can happen that maybe your clients can't.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, if they find a home and they're like, oh, but it doesn't have this, but you're like, oh, that can totally be done.
Yeah.
You know, so having that.
It happens every day. And it's not just buyers, it's sellers that are trying to sell a property. If I can show or paint that picture to the next agent that's representing their buyer that maybe doesn't understand construction as much, and help paint that picture as to what the house can become, it's really helpful as a listing agent as well.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Wow. And actually he has built everything in his office.
Yeah, it's my hobby.
Everything
I love
behind
woodworking.
us, this beautiful desk that you can't really see, but it's gorgeous. So he's very talented and creative.
Yeah, it's funny because I built my whole life working with my hands, right? Like woodworking and metalworking are a hobby and a passion of mine. Custom furniture making, I've always been really into that. So I've always earned a living using my hands, or at least that combined with a team of people helping build things, right? And it was just a couple of days ago, I just got so many leads through YouTube in the last year or so that I told my wife the other day, I said, I can't believe that this ugly face of mine is what is actually bringing business and making us money as opposed to my hands. Who would have ever thought that was the case?
Oh my gosh.
So
it's not true.
It's kind of funny though. It's a change. I never thought I'd be doing this.
Yeah. So, okay, let's back up a little bit. So first, before the YouTube, you still are in a BNI.
Yeah.
Correct?
I am. Uh-huh.
Yep. So why was it important for you to start and you actually started this chapter, is that correct?
Yeah. So right out of the gate, I knew I wanted to do a few things. I wanted to have more than one fishing line in the water, so to speak. I wanted to have 2 or 3 or maybe 4 things that I was doing that was proactive in terms of lead generation so that I could build my sphere and continue to get more business, because I wasn't happy with just sitting back and waiting. So in October of 2020, started a BNI group, which has always been a small group. But last year, my total net earnings from BNI was $119,000.
Wow.
Last year, calendar year.
Wow.
Year to date, I think this year through the first 3 quarters, it's 70 something. So last year was better, but nonetheless, it's a remarkable tool to connect with people. So networking is a big part of my business. And then I also dove into every single avenue of lead generation, whether that be cold calling, direct mail, going after investor properties, going to the courthouse and doing probate deals. Like I was doing everything in the beginning just to see what worked for me before I found my footing in what I really wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I remember, I think it was like two years ago,
Uh-huh.
you had said, or maybe a little over 2 years ago, I want to talk about business planning first before we talk about YouTube.
Perfect.
So he showed me this like business plan that he had. And first of all, aesthetically, it was like beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I don't know how many pages were in it, but it was a good like size, like I want to call it a book. Yeah, it had like a spiral bound.
I spiral bound it. I
Yeah.
keep it on my desk every single day, and it was something I had with me. I carried with me. I carried it in and out of the office every single day.
Yes,
Yeah.
and starting a YouTube was on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was something that you wanted to do.
Yep.
You wanted to grow on YouTube.
Yeah.
So, and I remember having this conversation with you and just like looking at this beautiful like business plan. Can you tell me what inspired this business plan and how you got so organized with it, and how it worked out for you?
Okay, perfect. So I got licensed in 2020. I came across a bunch of deals in the month of December of 2020 and closed all of them. And it was super easy. It was 3 listings and 2 buyers. And I thought, oh, this real estate thing's not as hard. And then I went through the entire year of 2021 just trying everything. And by October, November of 2021, I thought, I need a business plan. So I started researching online, because I think how you fuel your mind is how you grow as a real estate agent. And so what you focus on expands. And so as I was focusing on listening to people like Tom Ferry, Jason Pantana, other people on his podcast, as well as so many others, I was learning the importance of doing a business plan, which in my entire life I had never done.
Wow.
So it was November of 2021 that I created my first business plan for the calendar year 2022. And on that plan was YouTube as one of the pillars that I wanted to build my business upon. And so, we can talk more about that.
Okay. Yeah. So let's dive into YouTube because as of the past, 8 months?
It's just over a year.
No, I mean getting the business from.
Yeah. So I'll paint the whole picture. I'll start from the beginning.
Okay.
So it was November of 2021. I built this business plan. I left it on my desk every single day. I carried it with me. I read it once a day. The first thing I did when I got in the office is read through my business plan. And so I started in November purposefully because I believe that if you start your business plan when you set those New Year's resolutions, you've already lost. You've got to start early, ramp up, get yourself into it so that you have a little bit of momentum going into the calendar year. And as we know, transactions don't happen in 2 weeks. It typically takes a 60 to 90-day cycle before you really see results anyway. And I wanted those results in Q1, not Q3 of 2022. So as I put that plan on my desk and I read it every day, I kept stumbling over the perfectionism that was holding me back from posting videos online.
Right. I remember this.
I did not post until May of 2022. And I got to the point I was so frustrated with myself for not doing the very thing that I had on my plan that I was reading each and every day, that I leaned on another agent in the office and said, John, can you be my accountability partner? Because he was wanting to do the exact same thing. So because we had this, similar mindsets, we had the same goals, we said, okay, every week that we don't post our video, we owe each other $100. And so that very first video, if you go to my YouTube channel, it's still there. If you go to the oldest video, that was my first video. And I did that video because I didn't want to pay John $100. And just a couple months ago, I reached out to John. I called him and just thanked him. I was showing gratitude for that little stupid push to get started because that first video is the best video I've ever created because it got me started. And, the whole story behind that video, it's terrible. First of all, I didn't know how to use a camera. I had no idea how to edit. I had no idea with respect to sound or audio or anything, lighting. I knew nothing, but I got so frustrated with my DSLR camera. I went down to Best Buy and just bought a GoPro because I couldn't wait any longer because I had $100 on the line. So I bought a GoPro, pushed one button, turned it on, and let's do a video. And then from doing that video, we had our accountability meeting that on a Tuesday morning at 8:30. And so I stayed here on Monday afternoon and through Monday evening and all night to edit that video and get it posted. So I left the office at 6 a.m. I went home to South Jordan. My office is in Cottonwood Heights. I drove home to South Jordan, took a shower, came right back to the office, and lo and behold, I didn't have to pay John $100. And I took it seriously, and he laughed. And we did that for a couple of months just to get some traction and get some rhythm behind the cadence of posting videos and just getting the hard stuff done. And just like anything, when you first start anything, that's where it's the absolute hardest. And that's what it took for me to get started. It was really hard for me to get started.
Yeah, and just taking that, it just has to take major action.
Yeah, yep.
And that's kind of where, and it's all started from there. So then you were making videos, and about how many times when you started were you posting a week?
So my goal initially was to post one video per week on my YouTube channel, and I never really got great at it, but I was getting close. I was doing enough to feel like, okay, I'm gaining momentum. I'm working at this. I'm trying to improve each and every video. Just trying to get maybe 1% better in every video was my goal because I knew my videos were terrible. I knew they were absolutely terrible. So from May of 2022 through May of 2023, my first year of doing YouTube, my videos were pretty bad. And first of all, I didn't get a single phone call. Mm-hmm. I didn't get a phone call until the end of August of 2023. So that's when the first person reached out to me through a YouTube video. And up to that point, I had videos that had 40,000 views at the time, 20,000. So I had some traction. I had almost 300,000 views on my channel up to that point, but not one single phone call. But I'm relentless. So I just kept learning. What am I doing wrong? I reached out to a mentor, somebody who's doing this in a different state, in a different market. He gave me the most precise, valuable advice, and just with a quick 15-minute phone call, I took it to heart, and I started creating videos where I was doing a much better job connecting with the human being on the other side of that lens of the camera. And it was just like clockwork. That first month is when I got the first person reaching out, and I thought, oh, this actually does work. And then it was September, I got a couple more. And then October rolled around, and my fourth quarter last year was my biggest production, or biggest quarter in terms of production myself. I was so busy, I had no time to do anything, let alone, I didn't have time to see my family, let alone post YouTube videos or create YouTube content. So during the month of October, I posted 0 videos in 2023. And that really bothered me. And so that's when, at the very end of October 2023, I hired a full-time video editor because I thought, this is me. This is my problem. I can make the time to create the video, but the most time-consuming part is that editing process.
Right.
It takes, honestly, about an hour for every minute's worth of video.
That is crazy.
To plan it, to prepare it, to script it, to internalize it, to film it, edit it, and then post it, and then create the thumbnail and the title. So it's about an hour's worth of work per minute. So
That's
an 8-minute
wild.
video is about 8 hours of work. But 6 to 7 hours of that is editing. And so I thought, okay, I'm going to hire a full-time editor. And here we are the first week of October, and we're coming up on the first full year of him working for me full-time. And our goal is to do 2 to 3 videos per week. Honestly, the goal is 3. We hit 3 some weeks, we hit 4 some weeks, and some weeks we only hit 2. But that's kind of the standard that we've set. And that was the best move I could have ever made, is hiring the editor.
I can't remember. Is he local or is he a VA?
No, he's in the Philippines.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I used a website called onlinejobs.ph to find an offshores guy. And he's a young guy, and his name's Jim, and he speaks perfect English, and he cares. He's part of my team, along with the other agents on my team, and he's an integral part of the team.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely he is.
I value our relationship a lot.
And so I'm sure it took some time kind of training him and him understanding you and what you're looking for and what you're wanting and how you want your videos to look and all of that. So did that take him very long to learn, or did it catch on pretty quickly?
It took a long time.
It
and
did?
It's still ongoing, right? So during the month of November, December, it was more work than it was worth at the time, because it was more of an investment in him, but he was willing to go on that ride for me. And then by the time January 1 of 2024 rolled around, we were in a groove. He kind of knew what I wanted. He was doing okay. And he was sending me the rough draft of each edit and sending it back to me. And I'd watch every second and analyze every second of the videos, which helped him progress and get better. But honestly, the thing it did better, or more so, was it helped me get better, because by having to reanalyze my own video and listen to your own voice and watch your own face on a video and see what I needed to do better, that was the most productive part of it. So I would encourage anyone that's creating content, rewatch your content, because it will put it into a different lens for you, so you can actually see how would this connect with somebody that is your target, that's within your target audience. And so by the time January rolled around, we were in a groove, and then the leads just started getting better. So it was like 18 people reached out in January and 20-something in February, and it just kept growing.
Yeah.
So.
And I remember you saying, like, the pivotal change is when you started talking to a specific audience, and that's when you started getting the leads.
Yeah. So you've got, like, I'm speaking about YouTube specifically, because YouTube is a search platform first, but if your whole intent of getting content through YouTube or from YouTube or getting results from it is search alone, it's not going to win for you. So yes, people will find you through search, but the real magic happens when they're getting your videos suggested to them, or it's in their browse feature. Mm-hmm. And so if you can create enough content and create enough momentum, the algorithm on the back end of YouTube will figure out who your perfect audience is, and it analyzes the words that you use in your videos. It will analyze your speech. It'll analyze everything that you're creating, and it'll try its best to put that content in front of the right target audience. And the thing that really switched things around for me when I talked to my mentor, it was, you've got to change your language. You've got to talk to one person, not talk to the many. Mm-hmm. And it's just by, it's kind of human nature. When you get in front of a camera, you're almost like, okay, I'm talking to you guys, or all these people that might be watching this video on the back end, when in fact what we have to do is pretend like that lens of that camera is one person. You're connecting with one single person, so your language has to change So instead of saying, hey, are you guys looking to move to Utah? I would say, are you considering moving to Utah? What keeps you up at night? What are what makes you anxious about moving here? So the word you replaces the word you guys or whatever language you change around.
Well, so you've done a lot of studying.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Around YouTube.
Yeah,
and
it's not just the demographics, it's the psychographics about what are these people experiencing on the back end, who's your target, what are their problems, their pain points, how can you agitate those pain points just enough to then be sucked into listening to you and wanting to follow you, and then presenting them with solutions so that they can have a guide. That's it. That's the whole goal.
So what content are you, what were you putting out and what are you putting out now?
So in the beginning, it was a lot of home tour style stuff. And honestly, it did nothing for me. It didn't create one lead for me. Nobody reached out. But the thing that's working now is when I'm answering specific questions that people have around making the move to Utah. So if I'm answering and addressing their concerns, their questions, and I'm adding in value in terms of, maybe some resources that they're looking for, and proposing, hey, let's get on a video call together and dial in exactly what, whatever questions you might have, that's what's working now.
Well, I just know that when I was moving here, I had only been to Provo Canyon when I was about 3 years old. I knew there was fall and I knew there was winter, and I was excited for that. Coming from Arizona, coming from Hawaii, where there are no seasons, I was excited, and I wanted to get that feeling of like, what does fall feel like? And I went to YouTube and I looked up fall in Utah. And there was a guy driving and he had a dash cam.
Yeah.
And he's driving through, it was one of these canyons, and he's driving through the canyons and you just see all these trees and they look so beautiful, and it got me really excited. Yeah. And I was just like, wow. And YouTube is on, I don't know about everyone else, but YouTube is on our TV, and that's what we go through.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I'm gonna interject just a little because when people are making the move to a different state, they are 18 times more likely to go to YouTube than to search just on Google, because they don't want to decipher all of the blog articles and the sponsored ads or the pay-per-click ads through a search query on Google. They want people to show and tell. They want to see what it's like, and so that's where video comes in. And the most powerful thing about YouTube, and first of all, in terms of real estate lead generation, there's nothing like YouTube. Nothing is like YouTube. It's not social media. It's not interest. It's not based on a social network or even interest-based kind of like TikTok. It's absolutely the deeper dive. It's where people actually build more relationships with the content creator above anything else. And therefore, one subscriber to a YouTube channel is worth more than 1,000 followers on Instagram. I take that seriously. I believe that, and I'm witnessing it firsthand. But about 15 months ago, YouTube surpassed Netflix as the top streaming platform on people's televisions.
Wow.
And when this change has happened, as I've been creating YouTube content, in the beginning, about 84% of my people that were watching my videos were watching them through a mobile phone. Because on the back end of our YouTube Studio app, as a YouTube creator, we can see the analytics behind what device they're using to watch the content. Now it's 48% of my content is viewed on a television, and only 39% is viewed on a mobile phone.
Wow.
So more people are watching my videos on television, which is inspiring me and making me realize, what do people want to experience when they turn on videos on their television?
In their home.
It's very different than on your phone.
Yeah.
So that experience has to be different. If you think about when you're sitting in front of your television, you don't want to be searching for a new video every 5 to 8 minutes. So short videos on YouTube are 5 to 8 minutes. It doesn't work as well. So that's why a lot of my videos are getting longer and longer and longer, because what I'm noticing is the retention of the viewer and the average view duration greatly increase, which is increasing the overall watch time, and it's getting the videos pushed out to more people and the right people. So YouTube is where it's at. It's the top streaming platform there is. More people are on YouTube on their television now than ever, and it's only continuing to go up.
Right. Wow. That's awesome. And I was just like so inspired because I watched you literally go through this.
Yeah.
I watched you like make all your videos. You talk about the videos.
And get zero results.
Yeah. And you were going but that was the thing too. You were very consistent. as you started going,
Yeah.
you were very consistent. You were meeting home builders. You were, and you kept doing it. Even though, actually, I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and he said, how do you know when what you're doing isn't working? And he sat in that mastermind, and he was like, when do I know when something's not working? And I was like, well, remember Scott said he, for 14 months, was it? Yeah, 15 months. He consistently was posting on YouTube, not getting anything. And then he made a switch in his audience that he was talking to, and then it started working. But I was like, he was consistent, and he knew that that's what he wanted to do, and it had to work.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I mean, honestly, you'll know it's not working when you're not growing. If you're not trying to get better and you're not feeding your mind with the right type of thing that's going to help you get 1% better with each video, you're not going to experience success.
Yeah, and I think he's talking about, I think, like generally, like he's trying all these different things, like you had mentioned in the beginning of your career, that you're trying all these different things, and that's kind of where he's at right now. He's like trying to figure out like what's working, but when does he know when something's not working? Like the 3 feet from gold.
Yep, that's okay. I take that to heart. So I feel like every real estate agent every real estate agent goes through this process, myself included, from the end of 2020 into 2021 and throughout 2021. I tried everything. I got deals closed from cold calling, direct mail, probate, investor stuff. I did at least one of pretty much every lead generation activity, and it was ridiculous to think that I would do something that works, and then I would just go bounce over and try something else, and then I'd try something else. And if you're changing the direction that you're going every 90 days, you'll never see the success that activity will truly yield, because it goes in 90-day cycles. I feel like this is how I internalize it. Until you've done something for 90 days straight, you haven't even started. That's the starting point. Once you've done it for 90 days, now you have to go for the next 90 days. Once you've done it for 90 days after you've started the first 90 days, you're 2 quarters in. Now you can start thinking about, are there going to be results on the other end? And I honestly believe that the superpower that really helps me is just detaching myself from the outcome or the result and focusing or attaching my focus on the activity. That's the magic. That's the magic behind all of it.
So what kept you going after the 90 days and then you're not seeing results, and then 90 days later you're not seeing results?
I'm just super driven. I'm relentless. I don't give up. And I really believe that in real estate and just every business, there's only 2 things that you need to have as superpowers to absolutely succeed. Start and don't quit. That's it. So if you are willing to actually start by doing things instead of talking about it or learning about it, that's a talent that a lot of real estate agents don't have. They don't have the talent to just start, just do it. And then quitting. If you just never quit, you'll find success. It just might take longer for some people than somebody else. It's pretty simple.
Yeah. And so do you have multiple pillars now still? You have BNI.
So BNI is still a part of my business. I obviously take that very seriously. But YouTube is, in my opinion, exploding. I can see what's on the pipeline for next year and the year after that, because these people, more often than not, are watching videos for quite some time. They reach out a year or even 2 years ahead of actually making the move here. So the pipeline is filling up. And for this reason, I've built out a real estate team to be prepared to make sure that we're serving these clients at the highest possible level. So it's BNI, it's the YouTube channel, it's the podcast that is branded to and focused on an extension, being an extension of the YouTube channel, along with my new Instagram account that's branded to that as well, and then a newsletter. And the newsletter is going out every single week, and it's basically just a compilation of the video content I've created that week, along with a blog post that I've also posted on my website. And between those things, I'm building up an audience. So I've got a few thousand people in my newsletter, and I'm hoping that as time goes on, it'll hit 10,000 and 20,000 and 50,000. My mentor grew his newsletter and his Instagram account in a market size that's identical to that of ours here along the Wasatch Front. And in 2.5 years, he took it from 0 to 100,000 subscribers to his newsletter.
Wow.
And 100,000 subscribers to an Instagram account that had no face on it. It was just branded to the newsletter.
Wow.
And his YouTube channel. And that's exactly the pathway that I'm following. So
okay.
Those 4 things together, the podcast, the newsletter, the Instagram account, and the YouTube content together are the content machine. And I view that as one pillar, the content. The second is, of course, networking. And the third is agent referrals. And so yesterday, for example, on Saturday, I had somebody reach out to me, book a video call with me to make the move here to Utah. They're coming in just a few short weeks. This is one of those people that has to move right now. And they're shopping in the $700,000, $800,000, $900,000 range. They're moving from Maryland. And they have a home in Maryland that they need to get on the market ASAP. And they don't have an agent there that they trust. I can go through my network, who my lender is actually, she's from Maryland and she knows people there. So she got me in touch with somebody. And of course, it's great to have those opportunities. And when you're facing the public in terms of a YouTube channel, how much easier is that to send a referral to somebody that's moving out of state? Say, hey, go check out this team or this guy or this woman who's creating content that's going to help you. It helps both parties make sure that transition is smooth.
How rad is that? Yeah, I always say, and it's been deep in my heart lately, that and in my thoughts, that every single connection matters. You just don't know where it's going to lead you. An agent, a lender that's from Maryland, you know what I mean? That is so wild. But that you're able to make that connection, and then that's better serving your clients.
In last quarter, I sent 3 referrals to Michigan, Detroit.
Wow.
In February of this year, I went to Detroit. I never in a million years thought I would ever have a need to refer somebody there. But because I did that, and then the following week I went to Las Vegas and networked with a bunch of real estate agents from all over the country, I met a couple of agents from the Detroit metropolitan area. I sent them the referrals because I was proactively meeting these agents. And that's money in your pocket if you're an agent. Referrals are huge.
Yeah.
Especially when you have a YouTube channel.
That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Congrats, my friend. Okay, let's talk about your team.
All right.
So this is a new thing we got going on here.
Yep.
Scott has started a team, and it's growing quickly. And you have some awesome. Right now, it's all women.
Besides my video editor. So my first hire was my transaction coordinator, and that was Sally. Sally is she's my exact complement. She is everything that I need somebody to be in that role. And then my next hire was a full-time video editor, and then bringing on agents to help support the leads and make sure that these agent partners of mine are serving these people at such a rate that they feel the same level of attention that I want to give them based on the YouTube content. So, I've got 4 agents on the team plus myself, as well as the video editor.
That's awesome.
And we're doing our kickoff this week. So tomorrow we're doing our photography for the kickoff. And then by next week, we'll be officially launching and kicking everything off. It's going to be really fun.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And you have some amazing people that I know. I don't know. Is Jim?
Jim is the editor.
Yeah. So I don't know Jim, but I know all these ladies in here, and they are awesome.
They're very good women. I honestly do firmly believe that every one of them can probably serve my clients better than I could.
No,
seriously, because they have the talents that I don't have, and I have stuff that they don't have. And so it's a perfect compliment.
It is. And women are just naturally a little bit more nurturing.
100%.
Not all the time, but for the majority of the time, it's true.
Yeah.
So I just love that. And it's been so cool to watch you grow.
Well, thank you.
It's been so cool.
Yeah.
And I don't know, you're a very giving person. You've done things for me that you've never asked anything in return. You're doing this podcast for me now. You've always just been such a giver, and I'm so glad that I know you. And
well, thank you. I feel the same.
Well, thank you.
You're a giver too. When people don't have an interest in what there's no motive behind it. That's when you know you're working with a really good person in whatever area. It doesn't matter if it's somebody in one industry or another. It's how business works.
Yeah. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
But also, I want to talk about, you're a family man.
Yes, I am.
And you have okay, hold on. You've got the cutest kids. I won't name their names. I don't know.
I think you know their names.
I do know their names, but I don't want to name them.
I have 2 kids. One, my little boy is turning 9. I'm sorry, he's turning 10 next week. So he's 9 right now, but turning 10. And my little girl is 8 and about to turn 9. They're just 13 months apart.
And then your wife, your beautiful wife, she owns a floral
small little floral business, does wedding design and floral design for weddings. It's not something that she proactively pushes, but by default, she gets people reaching out to her.
Referrals and things like that. Yeah. So how do you balance like being a dad, being bald? I know like your son, they're both in sports?
They're both in sports.
Both,
So I
yeah.
do coach my son's baseball team. That's a big undertaking. My little girl plays softball, and I take it really serious. So it's a big commitment. I don't feel like my life is in balance right now. And for this reason alone, I've built a real estate team so that I have more flexibility.
Okay. I love
because
that.
it's gotten so imbalanced.
And when was that like, did that switch happen where you're like, I have to create this team?
The last week of February of 2024. So January, I got 18 leads. February, I had 20 something. The last week of February into the first week of March, I had 5 families visiting Utah at the same time looking at properties.
Oh, wow.
I couldn't be in 3 places at once.
Yeah.
Or let alone 4 or 5.
Yeah.
And it was that week that I realized I have to build a team. Because if I don't, I'll lose this business, number one. But number two, I'll never be home. And so I'd rather give up a share of the business and build a team structure whereby we have organic lead generation as opposed to what most teams do, which is buy internet leads, right? It just doesn't interest me whatsoever. I believe that I can do everything that I want to accomplish through organic content. Mm-hmm. I don't need to pay for leads. But by having that experience at the end of February, the beginning of March, I knew that I had to build a team. So I set a date, and it kind of went from May into June. So by June, I was ready to roll. I was ready to build a team.
Okay. Yep. So first hire was the editor.
TC.
Oh, TC.
Then editor.
Then editor.
And then brought on a few more agents.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. All right. Yep. That's awesome. And okay, so home life, now you created this team, and it's going to give you more time.
Yeah.
At
so
home.
I have a deadline. It's December 31st of this year. I'm no longer going to work at the crazy levels that I've been working.
Okay.
And when I say crazy, like the people in the office do call me crazy, but I do believe that it takes that level of dedication and work ethic to get started, to get something off the ground, just like anything. But especially a real estate business, I feel like it's kind of like the analogy I like to use with my team is it's kind of like a big giant locomotive. Think of a big heavy train that you're trying to get started moving along the tracks. It takes an astronomical amount of energy to get that thing just started, get it moving. But if you let off just briefly, it comes to a complete stop again, and you're starting over every single quarter. And that's what I see every real estate agent do.
Yeah.
They start, and it takes all that effort, all that work, and then they pause, and they lose all the momentum, and then they start something else, and then they start something else. So for me, in just never letting go, this thing is moving down the tracks. It's got plenty of momentum. The steam is behind it. And now I have the team behind it to help support it, which honestly, my biggest aha from building a team is it's instantly making me a better agent in every way.
Absolutely.
In every way. It makes me a better content creator. It makes me better when I'm in front of clients. It makes me better in the areas where I naturally lack. And so it's a blessing in disguise. So yeah, December 31st, I'm no longer working crazy like I have been.
So in order to have a goal like that, has to be measurable. So what does that look like?
So it has to be measurable, but it also has to have a timeline, right? Smart goals have to have a deadline. And you have to have buy-in from your spouse if you're married or if you have a partner. And luckily, I have a very supportive spouse, and she understands what I'm doing. And I set the deadline along with her, and she's supportive of that. So knowing that, we had to be able to measure that. What outcome do I need to make this happen? Well, there's a few different revenue streams in terms of what I'm doing. Obviously, you can earn a little bit of money on YouTube. You can earn money through your personal transactions, your YouTube transactions that you can share with the team. I would rather give the business from my YouTube channel to my team and make less money to have the freedom to have a life, to coach my son's baseball team, to take my wife on date nights, to do the things that I really want to do, and to travel and all those things. So I've made it a priority on the team as I've grown this team to make sure that every agent on the team knows that lifestyle is important. Work-life balance is important. Even though I'm not the model of it, I'm not showing that yet, it is going to happen as of the end of this year. And so as the agents that have joined the team can attest, they've joined the team because they've gone out of town and they trusted me to help them with their clients and get the clients under contract, do entire deals together. And it's the first time in their career they felt like they had somebody and they had the ability, the flexibility to go on vacation and actually disconnect.
Yeah.
And that is I think that story, and there's not just one story, there's multiple with each agent on the team. every one of them will be the magnet that attracts the next agents, because that's the culture we're building to make sure that everybody can have a life that's balanced, because we have the team backing each other up.
Well, why does everyone want money? It's to have that that time, that freedom.
Right.
That you're not tied to your desk. You're not the only one. So I think that's beautiful, and you're doing an amazing job, and you're helping these ladies and mentoring and supporting them too. So, and they're growing.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're growing.
And it's fun. It's fun to watch, you guys.
When we look on the leaderboard, so all my production up to this point has all been personal transactions. Nothing that shows is from the team. So these agents get their own production. And when I look at the leaderboard and I see all 5 of us up on the board, it really makes me smile that everybody's on the board.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So the goal is to get everybody in the top 10. So that's the goal. Okay.
And then speaking of goals, what are your future goals as an agent, a team leader, and personally?
So as an agent, I don't put goals around the number of transactions, nor do I around the volume or anything like that. But what I do have a goal of accomplishing is obviously by the end of this year, just unplugging a little bit to make sure that I can have a little bit more of a balance. But I have so many goals with respect to the business as to where I'm taking the YouTube channel and the content and the podcast, so that I can network more with other professionals, other people that will inevitably bring in more business to us as a team as well. So I have a business planning session that I do every October. So at the last week of October, I'll be doing this with my entire team. We're going to spend a full day creating our business plans, and every one of us will have a little bit different plan based on our personal goals, but it's all going to be aligned with the team as well. So we're going to be figuring that out at the end of this month, and then we'll be doing vision boards as well, and making sure that we have a clear vision before November comes, before the holidays come, as to what our goals are for next year. So as of right now, I don't have my goals set in stone yet, because I do believe that once you put the goals down and you have them in front of you each and every day, you have to look at them every single day.
And they have to be clear.
They have to be clear.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, love that. And then what about 1 year, 5 years? Where do you see yourself?
So where I see this going long term, so 5-10 years out, I'm 45 years old. I'm not going to be the face of a YouTube channel for forever, right? So my goal is to get my teammates involved in the channel. And I think I've had up to this point, two of my agents have made appearances on YouTube videos, but I really want to bring in their personalities and their talents into the channel and into the content, so that in 3, 4, 5 years, I can absolutely lean on them more if needed. But honestly, I think long term, 5, and I'm talking 5 and even 10 years out, I want to just build the team, and I want it to continue to grow, because there's plenty of room for growth. My mentor, who is in a different market that's of the exact same size, has now 42 people on his team.
Wow.
And I can absolutely see us getting to 20, 30, 40 people over time. That's going to take a few years, but I see myself getting there. In fact, I'm flying there on October 28th to go meet with him and talk to him and his team leader, or his COO of his team.
So cool.
That's going to be a fun experience, because I've never met him in person, just through video calls. So that's a long-term vision, is to continue to build a team where agents can plug in and their sphere of influence is worked to a degree that they will not find anywhere else. What does that mean? It means when you plug into our systems that we've carefully built out, that every agent has the flexibility to have their personal brand growth as well, to make sure that your sphere is worked in every possible sense of the word, because that's what we're taught in real estate. That's where you're going to get the business. So any agent that joins the team 5 years out, 10 years out, their sphere will get worked better here than anywhere else. And in addition to that, the gravy on top is just the business coming from out of state through YouTube.
Yeah.
And then the next layer of that will be the people that will be coming to us organically through the content as it evolves into more of a local base, which is already happening. I get more comments on my YouTube channel now from locals than people that are moving from out of state. And that is exactly by design.
Wow.
So
that's so cool.
Yep.
Awesome job, Scott. Okay, and final question, because we're running out of time here, but what would you tell your new agent self back in 2020? Little agent Scott.
At that time, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know that I wanted to do this in 2020. And even if I look back, I did start. It comes natural for me to just do something, just start something. So I think if I were to give myself advice, I think the best advice I'd give would be just pick one thing and stick with it, because I played the game of trying everything for a year and a half and it didn't work. So just stick to one thing, maybe two if you're really talented, but just do one thing. Be the best at that one thing. That would be my advice to myself.
That's great advice. And there are so many takeaways from this podcast episode. There's determination, persistency. There's not giving up, knowing what you want, setting goals and keeping to a plan.
Yep.
So we learned a lot in this episode, and I'm so grateful for you. Where can people follow you on YouTube and on Instagram?
Just YouTube, Scott D. Steele.
Okay, both Instagram too?
Both Instagram and YouTube.
Okay.
Yep. If you type in my name in YouTube, you'll find both.
Okay.
It's right there.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Scott.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much. Tristan, you're awesome.
Appreciate you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please rate us, like us, and share this podcast with our real estate community. The Nova Show Real Estate Record, sharing raw stories of real estate, failures, lessons, wins, and successes. This is all from Renovation Title, bringing a different experience into your world so that we can all uplift each other. Until next time.